Welcome to the Binge List. I am your host, Paul Chappell. We are recapping Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 4, Chapter 12, The Siege. Now, knowing what I know from having watched the episode, I'm kind of depressed about that title because it feels like another regression. Oh my God. Here's the thing. I really like this show. The kid in me loves the show. I'm getting more enjoyment out of this show than I got out of the whole new trilogy. There's almost nothing I enjoyed about that new trilogy, but it's like every episode is like, wow, this is what the new trilogy could have been and somehow wasn't. So I appreciate this series so much, but then the critical part of my brain just won't let me enjoy it. It really doesn't let me enjoy it because last week, the last episode, we had a raid on some Imperials. Now, granted, it was a little bit different. They were raiding an Imperial transport. This episode, they're raiding an Imperial base. Now, let me back up a little bit. Let me just go set up the whole plot. Mando is traveling to Corvus, which I'm so excited to see because it's supposed to be a forest planet. And we have yet to see anything like that. Everything we've seen is these like junk planets in the outer rim. So I was just so excited. I said, yeah, we're going to pick up the pace of this season. And no, Mando says, I can't get there with the ship in the condition that it's in right now. So I'm going back to Nevarro, and I'm like, oh God, we're going back to another planet we've already been to that's freaking boring, which is basically another Tatooine, but with lava. That's basically what Nevarro is. Okay, so we go back to Nevarro, whatever. I like Carl Weathers. Side note, Carl Weathers actually directed this episode. I think they do really well with the talent on this show. I think any actors working on this show is glad to be there because they're letting actors direct all these episodes. They let, Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard, they let her direct 2 episodes so far. Now Carl Weathers is directing an episode. He was supposed to be killed off during the first season. They decided to keep him. They've made so many right decisions when it comes to actors and accommodating actors. And I just appreciate, especially somebody like Carl Weathers, who's just one of the most phenomenal actors of all time who didn't get his due. Of course, Jon Favreau, the showrunner, also used to be an actor, so maybe that all makes sense. But let me not get off on a tangent. But okay, so we're going back to Nevarro. I felt like that was a regression. Where the heck is Boba Fett? And you're telling me we're not going to even get a Ahsoka Tano in this episode? So I was disappointed. And then, yet again, we have the same plot as the last episode. Let's do this raid on the Imperial forces that's still on this planet for some reason, even though the New Republic has supposedly taken over the galaxy. We still have all these Imperials everywhere. And it appears that the stormtroopers are just so worthless that when they raid this base, now let me just bring up the point. Mando meets up with Greef Karga and Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, and they decide to raid this Imperial fortress that's causing trouble on Nevarro. Greef Karga promises Mando that if he helps them with this raid, they can just basically take this planet back from the Imperials, which is something I thought they kind of did in the first season, but I digress. They invade this Imperial base basically with 3 blasters. 3 blasters against a whole army of stormtroopers, and they triumph. Does that make any sense? Does this base have any kind of surveillance or security lockouts? I mean, it seems like they just waltz into place and they go to the reactor room and they overload the reactor to the base and they destroy the base and they escape in a vehicle that doesn't have keys, I guess. They just access it. Now I know on a lot of military bases, even in our present day, I don't think you have to have a key or anything. You can pretty much access any vehicle. So maybe that was realistic. I don't know, but it seemed like they would have some kind of system in place where you wouldn't be able to take over a vehicle, biometric scan, something. You know, the stormtroopers could have something in their glove or something that they could put on a panel or something to store. I don't know. I know this show is supposed to be fun. That's the problem I'm having with. But at the same time, like I said, my critical part of the brain is just screaming throughout the whole episode. And then we get to a pretty good reveal in the episode that this base is just not some regular, ordinary Imperial base. It is actually a lab. And what kind of lab in it? It's a cloning facility. It's a cloning lab. That's right. They are cloning something that you can't really see it clearly. But to me, it was fairly obvious that this is where the First Order, and remember, I said last episode that Moff Gideon was going to be forerunner of the First Order. As fanatical as he acts and the people who follow him act, it just felt to me like that's where they were going with the storyline. And it was confirmed this episode. I think they are making clones of Palpatine. And to do that, they need Baby Yoda. Why? Because Baby Yoda has lots of metachlorians. You know, those little things that give you the force that's inside your body. So that's what they were trying to do last season when they stole Baby Yoda, or they got a Mando to steal Baby Yoda. They were experimenting on Baby Yoda, trying to extract these metachlorians so they could inject them into these clones they're making for Palpatine, or possibly Lord Snoke too. Because remember, Snoke was also some kind of clone. So that reveal is what I'm saying. It made the whole episode worthwhile. It moved the plot forward, which is what you're supposed to do when you write for television or you write for movies or whatever. You got to move the story forward. And the last shot in the show, I think we see Moff Gideon on the ship with a bunch of what appears to be some kind of clone soldiers. So I was reassured at the end of the episode. Was I excited that they took a regression? No. But like I said, they made it worthwhile. I thought they were retreading some of the same ground that the last episode. I mean, come on. You're really going to raid another Imperial thing? But then, of course, you had so many great things in the last episode about the Mandalorian culture and this whole subplot with Bo-Katan and what she's trying to get the dark saber back. She's trying to get her, her birthright or whatever back. So there's all these subplots going on, and the main one they're supposed to be focusing on is being pushed forward now. So I'm happy about that. It was great to see. I mean, was there any Easter eggs in this show? That's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Easter egg. I'm not going to really focus on Easter eggs for this episode. We did have one of the characters from the very first episode, Mando's very first capture, his bounty. This character called Mithril. He returned. He's basically working off his criminal debt to society by working for Grief Karga. So, not really excited to see this character. I wasn't really impressed with this character in the first place. So, I could take or leave that. But overall, this episode was action packed. This is everything we could come to expect from this show. Like I said, it moved the plot forward. It has some cute moments with Baby Yoda. Of course, Baby Yoda trying to get more food, actually using the Force for the first time this season to get some blue cookies. So I like that. But it just seems like they could do so much more, Baby Yoda. I'm kind of getting to the point where, okay, yeah, the thing with the food is cute, but they've done that little bit over and over again. Can we get something new? They did have the little scene where Mando's trying to get Baby Yoda to fix the ship or help him fix the ship, and it goes horribly wrong. But it's getting to the point where I think maybe Baby Yoda should be able to speak or something. You know? I don't know. They could go in a bunch of different ways, and I feel like they're holding back because having them being able to talk will probably take away from some of the cuteness, and they're banking on people's love of Baby Yoda, and they don't want to kill that cash cow because they got toys that they're selling based on this character and so many other things. So that's all I got for today. I like to thank my subscribers. Encourage you, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, give me a comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.